Morning, everyone. Polls are interesting because they're numbers, and numbers are malleable, especially when you're writing articles around numbers. Because when you take a poll, there are all these subcategories you can slot people into, and you can use the different questions asked to get different answers depending on the way you ask the question, etc., etc., etc. And polling has been going on a long time, and they've gotten really good at getting the results that they want, basically. And what I'm saying is, well, polls are useless, basically. Here is Charlie Kirk, and he's tweeting, quote, "In June 2015, Jeb Bush was polling at 22%, presumably. Donald Trump was polling at 1%. In June 1983, Ronald Reagan was polling at 39%. His opponent, Walter Mondale, was polling at 49%. Reagan won 49 seats in 1984. The media thinks you're stupid. Don't believe the suppression polls." And so I'm going to show you some Canadian examples of this exact phenomenon. It's interesting to note because it doesn't just happen in the United States, and it doesn't just happen with big contests like the presidency. Here's a by-election in BC, and it says BC Liberals have 13-point lead ahead of an Nanaimo by-election Main Street Research poll. 13-point lead. Now, in politics, 13 points may sound like a small amount in football, right? Like 13 points is less than 2 touchdowns, right? That you can turn that over in 2 minutes, easy. But in politics, 13-point leads means you're winning, like by a lot. All you have to do is not stick your foot right in your mouth, and you're pretty much going to have a victory. And that's what that means. 13 points is a big, big lead. This was reported January 28th. Here's the result. January 30th, NDP hold on to power in BC with Nanaimo by-election win. Whoa, wow, that was spectacularly incorrect, right? And that's just a little by-election. Thanks, CBC News, for that really wildly wrong, or thanks, Global News, for that wildly wrong report. And I guess it's Main Street Research's fault for the incorrect numbers, but still, what kind of, well, it doesn't really matter, but it's wrong by a lot. Here's PEI, and I want to show you that the pumps were primed for what happened in PEI in 2019, and I'll show you why I think that. Here's September 6th article from the CBC News. PEI Greens grab lead in the latest poll. So it's a big news story, right? And here's the latest poll. Greens are at 38 according to this, and the Liberals are at 35. So that's a big difference, right? And here is 2019 could bring Canada's first Green government on PEI, and this is the Globe and Mail pushing this to December 3rd, 2018. And I'm not going to read you any of this. The link's in the description if you'd like to have a read. Here's a CBC News article from March 6th. So this is more than a month before the election. It says Greens surge in volatile PEI election political poll. And it's got the Liberals at 37%, Greens at 25%, PCs at 28%, NDP at 11%. Oh, sorry, that's November, that's February. So there's a volatile swing is what they're trying to illustrate with this poll. So I want that to be clear. Here's a couple of days before Election Day. The Election Day was April 23rd. This was reported April 18. This is second election period poll finds Greens leading in PEI. So I'm going to show you this. While Narrative Research poll found all three parties close in their level of support, MQO gives the Green Party a clear lead among decided and leaning voters. Green Party, 40%. 40%. Progressive Conservatives, 29%. Liberal Party, 26%. NDP, 3%. Okay, 3% going into an election, that's a tight election. That's almost statistically tied. You're close. But 29 to 40, that's an 11-point spread. That's you're worried about that. And the Greens are cruising if that's true. Back to the article. The MQO poll found 25% were still undecided. Oh, that's what I'm talking about. There's the hidden number, right? There's no way that number is as high as 40% because 25% aren't accounted for. So that's a huge way to stack the poll so they can get it to say what they want. And what they wanted was, look, Green majority. Clear, easy, clear sailing to a Green majority. Right? That's what they wanted. Back to the article. Both polls were conducted last weekend. MQO Research, 400 Islanders on the phone from Thursday, reached 400 Islanders on the phone from Thursday to Tuesday. 400 people? The margin of errors among decided voters in the MQO poll is 5.7 percentage points. Yeah, so this is, 5.7 incorrect is a really big margin for error, et cetera, et cetera. And it's not a very big sample as well. Like this is a small internet poll. Like this is a small Twitter poll. But really, that's how, and this is news, right? This is news a couple of days before the election, giving 40% to the Greens. Unbelievable. Let's fast forward. What happened? Here it is. PEI votes 2019. Oh yeah, PC minority. With the Greens as the opposition. So way wrong. You guys got it way wrong. Again, right? Let's look at Ontario. Everybody remember Ontario? Remember how Andrea Horwath was going to introduce sanctuary provinces and usher in a brand new era or something? I'm not sure. Here's Ontario. Here's HuffPost reporting. Ontario election 2018 poll finds half of decided voters making choice based on party they dislike. I wanted to show you this part here. It was in blue, I believe. No, it was green. Here. In another question, the poll asked respondents for their opinion on each leader. Again, Horwath came in first place with 60% saying they had a favorable view of the NDP leader. 30% and 34% said the same for Ford and Wynne, respectively. Horwath was also seen as the leader who would make the best premier by 34% of respondents, while 25% said the same of Ford and 14% chose Wynne. Here's Maclean's reporting on June 3rd. The election was on June 7th, I believe. And it says the Maclean's Pollara Ontario election poll, NDP and PCs in a dead heat. Really? Are they in a dead heat? This is what was said a few days before the election, saying this is the most up-to-date data we've got. The NDP and the PCs, dead heat, tied, could go either way. Really? Really? Here's the result. Not even close. Not even close. PCs got 76 elected, a clear majority, and the NDP got 40. And the Liberals got 7. Welcome to your van or station wagon. And the Greens got 1. So, interesting to pay attention to, right? That's the results again. Playing this out into federal politics, this tweet was sent in 2017 by Bruce Anderson, and here's the original. And it says, what would happen if Maxime Bernier broke away and built a conservative libertarian party? Hashtag Canada Poly. And he was polling at 2% then, in 2017. And now, just to put this into perspective, he's built a party with an EDA in every riding and 309 candidates. 309 candidates. That's more than every other party except the Progressive Conservative Party, who's had 4 years and a full war chest to build their party. Something's fishy. Here's current Abacus data, and I found like all of this was very interesting to me. I'm going to link it. Here's vote intention, and they've got PPC on there, but they don't give PPC any numbers. They give the block numbers, but they don't give PPC numbers, and that continues in all of these graphs. They don't include PPC there. All of these graphs do that. And Maxime Bernier's got 6% here with the preferred PM. And again, I just don't believe that. But, we can disagree. 19% think Elizabeth May would be a better prime minister than Maxime Bernier. Hold on, I've got a video for you. Hold on. Yeah, roll it.
Omar Khadri, you've got more class than the whole cabinet. Thank you.
Yeah, just so you're aware of what you are endorsing there. I don't think that would be very good to be representing Canada, in my opinion. I don't think that's prime ministerial. Just my opinion. And so anyway, I wanted to show you how this data is even presented is even slanted, right? So just with the lack of numbers for the PPC, it's slanted. Just by doing that, it slants things. Okay. And this video was fun to revisit. Yeah. Yep. That was a bad idea, Elizabeth. Okay. Here is the latest poll projections. PPC has grown by 0.7% according to the CBC and whatever. I guess that's their data, right? It looks like projecting not 1 seat, but it's so interesting. They're projecting 5 for the Greens and 14 for the Bloc and 20 for the NDP, up to 47. 146 for the Liberals. That's the seat projection. So I find it interesting when we look at how many seats or how many candidates each party has. So NDP are going to pick up 20 seats from 141 candidates. The Greens are going to pick up 5 from 226. That's how efficient their messaging is, or their history. It's interesting to me that the NDP are lagging the Greens. Can you imagine if Mr. Bernier had that many candidates? And for people who aren't paying, who are just listening, I'll read the tweet now. Mr. Bernier says, quote, with campaign just weeks away, here's how parties are faring with nominations out of a total of 338 ridings. The Conservatives have 323. People's Party of Canada has 309. The Liberals have 230. The Greens have 226. The NDP have 141. If Mr. Bernier was occupying the 141, I guarantee you we'd be seeing some news articles about that. And I find it interesting. I find it very interesting that the CBC poll tracker will assign this many seats to parties that don't have a full slate of candidates. And not that they can't run in their ridings, but how and in what way does it look like these parties are so, I mean, the Greens are growing according to everything I've read, and the NDP aren't completely imploding despite everything that I've seen. I mean, their fundraising is down. They have less than 200 candidates with what, 3 weeks ago? 3 weeks to go? I mean, when does the writ drop? We're in the pre-election phase now, and the writ could drop anytime in late August, early September. I mean, we're getting close. This is August. If you're not fundraising now, what are you doing? So, I mean, right? Like, despite all indications that this party is in trouble by any metric, and the Greens, I mean, they could be fundraising, etc. But the leader, Elizabeth May, tried to give the leadership to Jody Wilson-Raybould, like kind of casually. And I don't know how you support that. And has pledged her support to the Liberals. So I find it very interesting. And I mean, it could be right, could be bang on. I have no idea. But given history, given what the polls said and what the results were in all of these contests, and I'm sure I only did PEI in Ontario and the little Nanaimo one, but my point is, from by-elections to provincial elections, they've massaged the polls. And when the result comes in, it has been starkly different than what the polls said. Andrea Horwath was not in a dead heat with Mr. Ford, not even by a little bit. And reporting it that way is, I mean, provably, well, ridiculous anyway. So I find it interesting. Polls are garbage. I think there are other metrics. Fundraising is one. Candidates, engagement. I mean, I don't see a lot of people online defending Trudeau. You look at his tweets and the replies are very poisonous. You look at Andrew Scheer's and the replies are poisonous. You look at Jagmeet Singh's and the replies are sparse. And you look at Elizabeth May and people are upset that she's hired Kinsella, and people are saying you've lost a supporter in me. Sorry. Like that's what I've been seeing. So all of these metrics could be worth nothing, but they're worth paying attention to. Well, for me anyway, I find them interesting. So I'll keep telling you what I think. Thanks for watching, everybody. Check out the People's Party of Canada.ca, because look at that. We've got all sorts of seats, or we've got all sorts of candidates. And, you know, that's pretty cool. I mean, like, a lot more than the Liberals and the Greens. Wow. And the NDP. A lot more. That's pretty cool. Okay. Thanks for watching. Have a wonderful day.